Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. Today, January 31st, is Philip Glass's 87th birthday. Happy birthday, Philip Glass. And I want to take advantage of the occasion of the celebration to talk a little bit about him, maybe read some quotations, but perhaps more in general, I want to look at what it's like to have a hero, an icon, an image against which we measure ourselves and aspire to. So a lot to chew on. I guess that's my porch talk topic for today. When I was a kid growing up in central Maine in the 60s, I learned to skate by following a bigger kid, a local kid from the neighborhood. Every day in the winter, we'd get out and skate. Like this time of year, I'd be out 2 hours a day skating. And I'd just basically park myself behind this fella, just basically try to do what he did. He was my hero as a skater. And I think a lot of us learn that way. We learn by imitating those with more wisdom and experience. And thank goodness there are those who come before us, right? My heroes now are generally 10 to 20 years older than I am, and that means, for me, they're getting up there. Joni Mitchell's playing the Grammys next week. She's 80 years old. Philip Glass, 87. Reich is 87 as well. And, as we get older, we have to endure the recognition that our idols, these icons of art and wisdom, are frail human beings, right? We lose people, and we have to reckon with that. We ask ourselves the question, what should I do? And, in the early days of music publication, criticism, things like that, media in general, we were presented with generally fairly sculpted views of our icons and idols. Celebrity was something that was very controlled, right? And I think that now, in the age that we're in, the way social media works, even the way YouTube and what's happening right here works, we have a really strong sense of our icons not as abstract, but actual real people, I hope. And that means real people with foibles, with failings, who make mistakes. And I think that's great. Sometimes it's hard to reconcile those two things as well. The challenge for us is to sort of separate out what's the image of our idol that is valuable to us that we can take forward in our own work. How can I compare my own work to their life and experience? I pulled a few quotations of Glass's. I just would like to read a few because fascinating writer, interesting thinker. Well, you may know this already, and I know that a lot of folks here really, love Phil Glass, and I know that just because when I do videos on his music, they get a lot of response and people seem to enjoy it. But, do you know he's a great philosopher and thinker? He's been involved in Eastern philosophy and sort of the practice of meditation for many, many years. And he's a deep thinker about his own work and about the work of others. Although I would say largely he's mostly concerned with himself. Yay, that's kind of what we ought to be. So from an Esquire interview in 2009, and this particular interview is framed really just largely as quotations. I always knew what I wanted to do, and I did it. I work every morning without fail. You practice and you get better. It's that simple. That sort of dedicated work ethic is really, really important component of his work, the practice itself. All right, so about his early work. When I struck out in my own music language, I took a step out of the world of serious music, according to most of my teachers, but I didn't care. I could row the boat by myself, I didn't need to be on the big liner with everyone else. This is a terrific quotation, and it's really worth thinking about. He says, the question is, what is the mill, not the grist? He's talking about milling flour from grain. So, typical windmill or something like that, imagine it, right? The grain comes in one side, grind, you get flour on the other. The kind of flour you get has more to do with the actual mill itself. And of course, what Glass did is he made a kind of a new kind of mill. The raw materials of his music is not so different from what came before him. It's the instruments and harmonic language of, at some level, just Western European classical music. And yet his procedures, the mill itself, gave us a different result. The output was different. From his own book, Words Without Music. If you don't know what to do, there's actually a chance of doing something new. And then he talks about this train ride that he took when he was a young man. I didn't sleep at all that night. Soon after leaving the station, the lights were out. It was just an old passenger train from Dixie to the Midwest with no amenities of any kind, no lights, no reading, nothing to do but make friends with the sounds of the night train. The wheels on the track made endless patterns, and I was caught up in it almost at once. Years later, studying with Ala Rakha, Ravi Shankar's great tabla player and music partner, I practiced the endless cycles of twos and threes that form the heart of the Indian Tal system. From this, I learned the tools by which apparent chaos could be heard as an unending array of shifting beats and patterns. But on this memorable night, I was innocent of all that. Steve Reich talks about a similar experience on a train as a kid. In fact, Different Trains is an amazing piece of music. Listen, I have one last thing to read of Glass's. And in this, he's talking about Jean Cocteau's film, La Belle et la Bête, Beauty and the Beast. And a particular scene in the end, a kind of a critical moment that for Glass outlines and sort of elucidates the essential elements, the tools by which an artist transforms themselves, their art, and sort of gives back to the culture. In the scene when Belle begs La Bête for permission to visit her father, La Bête, moved by her plea, decides to let her go, but requires her at the cost of his own life to return in a week. He explains to her that his magic exists by the force of 5 power objects: the rose, the key, the mirror, the glove, and the horse. These 5 are the root of La Bête's creativity and magic. The point is, if a young artist were to ask Cocteau directly what he would need to pursue the life and work of an artist, these 5 elements would be the answer. The rose represents beauty. The key represents technique, literally, the means by which the door to creativity is opened. The horse represents strength and stamina. The mirror represents the path itself, without which the dream of the artist cannot be accomplished. The meaning of the glove eluded me for a long time, but finally and unexpectedly, I understood that the glove represents nobility. By this symbol, Cocteau asserts that the true nobility of mankind are the artist, magician, creators. This scene, which leads directly to the resolution of the fairy tale, is framed as the most significant moment of the film and is the message we are meant to take away with us. Cocteau is teaching about creativity in terms of the power of the artist, which we now understand to be the power of transformation. Well, Glass has also famously observed that people who do the thing they love, no matter what it is in their life, tend to live longer. I hope that's certainly true for him. Happy birthday, Philip Glass, and I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe and ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos, and I'll see you next time.